So we have a horrible, horrible future ahead of us if we don't do something. So what do we do? What do we actually do about this? How do we ensure that your children are not going to be living in a society that is economically utterly bankrupt, or even worse, is going to be embroiled in some interreligious civil war that we could actually win in 10 or 15 years' time, but 30 or 40 years' time, because of this demographic boom in their population and the slump in ours, we won't win it. We will be massively outnumbered and we won't win it. And anybody that thinks that Islam is going to quietly allow us to keep on going the way we are as a democracy, and a Christian democracy and a liberal democracy, is living on cloud cuckoo land, I'm afraid. It's not going to happen. Islam has never peacefully coexisted with any race or religion in its life. It has always sought to dominate, and it always will. That's what it says in the Quran. And that's what they believe. So what do we do about this? Well, what we have to do about it is not very nice, unfortunately. But then the situation is not very nice. Liberty GB, my political party, has always maintained that we are cultural nationalists, i.e. that it doesn't matter about the race and the colour. The only thing that matters is that people absorb our tradition and history and ideology and live as we do. But that's not going to happen because of this wonderful edict of multiculturalism which promotes separate development. And it's worked very well. They have developed separately. We now have Muslim ghettos all across this country. So it's not going to work. Cultural nationalism is not going to work. Which is a great shame, because at one stage it perhaps could have done, but the numbers are now so great, we now have to look at the only viable option on the table, which is to remove Islam from Britain. And in Europe, if you want to survive as well, you need to remove Islam from Europe. When 40% want Sharia law, and when 33% believe that killing in the name of Islam is permissible, then you only have that option. Unless you want civil war and carnage in the future, Islam has to be removed from Europe, from Britain, from England. And this is now the position that Liberty GB is taking. Yes, it's horrible. But think about just how horrible it's going to be if we don't do this. And is it really such a bad thing that Pakistani Muslims are required to go and live in Pakistan? And is it really such a bad thing that Somali Muslims are requested to live in Somalia? It's not such a bad thing at all. What is a dreadful, awful thing to happen is for the white English to be reduced to a minority in their own country, which is something they were never asked about, in the face of people who are implacably hostile to us. This is, I believe, and this is something the left want to happen. This is what they're deliberately engineering. And I believe this is the greatest racial crime that has ever been committed in the history of mankind. And asking people to go back to their own countries as an alternative to fulfilling this racial crime of reducing us to the indigenous us to a minority in our own country. There is absolutely nothing wrong with asking people to go home. There is absolutely everything wrong with doing this awful racial crime to the white English.